yes, Rome. The Coliseum. The Pantheon. St. Peter's Basilica. So much history, so much culture, and so much snow? Hi, I'm Chris May, host of This Day in Weather History, a podcast from the Weather Network in Canada. On the morning of February 26th of 2018, Romans, that's right, Romans, woke up to a rare sight, snow, for the first time in 6 years. This day in weather history. They had the same gripe that Canadians and Americans have in the winter. Bloody Siberia! Keep your cold wind to yourself. Freezing winds from Siberia moved across Europe and caused a cold snap. They called it the beast from the east. Well, that's a bit harsh. In an irony, Western Europe was hit again in 2021 with brutal cold air from Siberia, resulting in heavy snow everywhere. They called it the beast from the east. Part 2. Real original, right? Hey, I didn't think it up. So just how did the locals of this historic city get out and weather the storm? Snowball fights! Yes, even nuns and priests were throwing snowballs at each other in front of basilicas and famous landmarks that were coated in white, while around the city others were building snowmen and using lipsticks and makeup brushes for arms. Now, I guess it's true what they say, when in Rome. Hey kids, just a reminder that today's episode is accompanied by a podcast video short. You can watch this 2-minute version of today's story on television on the Weather Network in Canada or online anywhere you are at theweathernetwork.com/weather history. They're shot right here in my podcast recording studio and include photos and video from when all this snow fell and what it looked like during and after it happened. Then after you listen to the rest of this episode, be sure to check out the podcast video short. You don't need me to tell you that snow is rare in Rome. It's pretty obvious given that this snowfall was the first in over half a decade. But the tourists went wild. Those who were at the Coliseum had the rare opportunity of taking photographs of 2 rare sights at once. First, the snow in Rome, and the largest amphitheater ever built. That's gonna make the Facebook wall. That'll get me clicks. Schools were closed locally, but I gotta believe that this was done to allow the kids a chance to run and play in this anomaly. Obviously, with no infrastructure in place to accommodate for such an occurrence, traffic was brought to a total standstill, while others suffered with temperatures across the country plummeting to between minus 4 degrees Celsius, that's only 25 Fahrenheit, and minus 8 Celsius, also known as 17 Fahrenheit, and that according to the UK Met Office. Some perspective. The average high in Rome for the month of February is 13 degrees, above zero. That's 55.5 degrees Fahrenheit. The average overnight low, is still above zero at 3.5 degrees, also known as almost 40 degrees Fahrenheit. These daytime highs were brutally below both the average highs and lows for this area affected. For March, the high is normally 15 degrees Celsius, that's close to 60 Fahrenheit, and the low is 5 degrees Celsius, about 41.5 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the World Meteorological Organization, the WMO. So there was no way anyone could have prepared for this. It was simply not normal. The chilly weather truly lived up to its moniker as the beast from the east. Although I think that was kind of nasty to pin this whole thing on poor Siberia. Think of how they must feel every year when we in Rome are not having a rare occurrence. According to the UK Met Office, Rome has not had this kind of snow since March of 2013. So for temps to hit highs of well below zero and lows even colder, it was one brutal, chilly snap for the home of an ancient empire, this day in weather history. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. Click the subscribe or follow button right there on this same podcast homepage. You will be immediately reminded that the next day is ready to listen to, and you also have access to every episode in the archives. I mean, it dates back to June 1st of 2020, so lots to get caught up on. I do hope that you really like the podcast. I know I do. If you do, we'd love to hear from you. Go right now to wherever you are listening and rate us if you would, please. It's on a 5-star rating system, and we love the stars. Rate us, but then also review us. This way we can always stay on top of how you would like to see the show evolve. Tomorrow is February 27th, and we are going back to another naturally occurring phenomena in Earth science, the earthquake. But this is not any ordinary earthquake. I'm indeed talking about the massive 6.8 magnitude Chile earthquake of 2010 on This Day in Weather History with me, your host, Chris May.